My conversation today on Inside the Wounds is with Josh Davies. He's the vocalist of Malice, and he's part of the touring crew with Ingested. Today, we're talking about how his purpose of being an artist ties into him taking on the responsibility of being a positive influence to his listeners. I'm Joaquin Rodriguez, and this is Inside the Wounds with Josh Davies. Talk to me about your involvement in the music industry.
My name is Josh Davies. I previously sang for the band Monasteries. I currently sing for the band Malice, based in the UK. Other than that, outside of like performing and creating music, I also sell t-shirts and kind of like help design like other people's stuff. Good opinions as well. I find a lot of comfort in that, like designing merchandise and like thinking about like ideas. I also like directing videos, and I just kind of like started like directing like other people's videos, and I'm gonna try and do more now. That's me. Me in a nutshell, just like small.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. And how long have you been in the industry for?
I've only really been touring properly for like the last 2 years, but I started to learn vocals when I was like 17. I'm currently 25. So, give or take like 8 years, 7 years, something like that.
Nice. So you mentioned designing merch. So do you have like a background in like digital design or 3D or 2D design or anything like that?
No, not at all. It's just kind of like, I can't do any of that. I guess it's just kind of like taste and kind of like knowledge and trusting yourself what you think will sell. And I kind of learned that from like a really good friend of mine called Lynn Jeffs. He has immaculate taste in merchandise design, and everything he touches turns to gold, and it just sells. And like kind of like learn that trait off him, and he kind of showed me like pointers and like where like logo placements and colors and what stands out, what catches the eye as well, and also kind of like knowing your market, where like a lot of my own band stuff, I just kind of like figured out what our fans enjoyed and just kind of like give them what they'll enjoy and what they think is cool, but also what I think is cool as well. I like aggressive t-shirts. I tend to do a lot of them. I got like right now I got like a 10 to the chest shirt on. It's just like a torso of like body limbs inside of it. It's pretty crazy.
Totally. Yeah, and you did also mention directing videos. So I mean, I film, I direct, I edit video as well. So like, where does your background come from?
I guess it's just like finding love within like the previous stuff I've done, because my first band never had videos, and then when I joined Monasteries, I didn't really get to like direct or kind of like push a narrative or push a theme for anything until we just started releasing our EP Silence. And during like that, I kind of like got to push a little bit more. Like Allowing Your Traits to Die was a song that I did, and then we did another song I'm pretty sure that I also did. But then when it came to like Monasteries like full length, I got to like direct. I didn't get to do what I intentionally wanted due to like the costing and the budget, but I got to like push what I could during that time. But like Malice is kind of like my first kind of like taste in like bringing like prosthetics, makeup artists in, and like extras in, and it's something I wanted to do in Monasteries. But with this, I got to do it. I got to use a really good, like, one of my best friends called Kat Lloyd, and she does prosthetics. She's done everything for Malice, and then she's done all the makeup. She's done my own makeups that we'd use for videos. And then, like, the narrative side, I've always been, like, a narrative person within, like, lyrics.
Nice.
And I kind of, like, I love taking little things from lyrics and putting it as, like, Easter eggs in the videos. And I just kind of, like, I just love the art of it. I just love creating, and I just love everything building up to it. I even love the day. And like I got to direct someone else's video as of recently, and very much proud of it, and I'm very much like stoked for it to get like finished and like edited. Can't at the moment say, but it'll come out, and obviously I'll post about it. But like, even that, I was a little bit nervous because it's not mine and it's someone else's work, and like building the whole narrative and running it through them, and then building like a little team, like doing everything on that day, making everything run smoothly, and then on the day telling them like angle shots, what I want someone doing. A little bit of a challenge, a little bit nerve wracking, but it was also quite fun. I enjoyed it. Different environment. I'm hoping to do that like more. So I don't know. It's just like I like story building. I like lyrics meaning something to a video, because then like people and like fans can like pick apart it and like enjoy it and find that little thing. So I think I kind of find something within that.
Yeah, that's great, man. And let's dig into that a little bit. So where did the passion for narrative, the storytelling come from?
Well, there's a band called The Devil Wears Prada, and the singer Mike Haranek, he's very like story driven, very like narrative based, very like directional. And I've always like looked up to him, like through school, and then after school, even when I started doing vocals, I was like, this guy. I own like 2-3 of his books, even like represses of the same book. And like they have a song called To the Key of Evergreen, which I've actually got tattooed on me. And it's just like him in general was just like a big thing for me. And then like movies growing up, just like watching like Star Wars, and then getting into like the Rob Zombie like horrors, and just kind of like seeing direction and just seeing like an end point and seeing everything make sense, and then like cryptic stuff. I just fell in love with it, and I still fall in love with it. It's like Malice has like one more video to do, and I just, with this one, I kind of want to go like a little bit chaotic, a little bit sporadic.
Totally. That's awesome, man. And what made you gravitate towards the metal genre in particular?
Damn. My dad like enjoyed Black Sabbath and Megadeth and like Motley Crue and like Ozzy Osbourne and like Iron Maiden, and like Ozzy Osbourne like his biggest things, and like I didn't find or resonate with anything like that. I wasn't like a musical kid. My granddad was like a musician. He played in like bars, pubs, and it wasn't until like I was 13 years old where I was over my dad's friend's house hanging out with his son, and it was like, yo, I found the sickest thing ever. And I'm like 13, like, what is it? And he's like, shows me The Cleansing by Suicide Silence, but it was on like a scrawny TV. It was unanswered, and it was like the video. It was just like the opening shot of the big crowd, everyone walking on stage. And I was like, damn, what is this? And then when Mitch Lucker started screaming, I was like, I want to be that guy. And then I didn't start screaming until like I was like 17, and then I kind of based like my vocals around him and like a few others. Watched like the Whitechapel, Phil Bozeman had a guttural video. Then I went for like Dickie Fighter with the Grizzly Tunnel Throats, and then I mainly like really tried to rip off Mitch Lucker, but I just kind of found my own style and just kind of went through that, and then people seem to enjoy it, so I just kind of stick with what I've got, and I'm stoked about it.
Totally. That's awesome. It's funny because Suicide Silence was my first intro to deathcore. Because I mean, previously I was very much into, I feel like I was born into metal, like because of family, right? On my mom's side of the family. But you know, I was born in '97, so in '99, that's when the self-titled Slipknot record came out. Around that time too, LD50 from Mudvayne was out. Couple Deftones records, so that's what I was born into and fell in love with.
Yeah.
But back when Suicide Silence came out with The Cleansing, I remember, you know, a buddy showed me you know, a song from that album, and at first, I'll be honest, I wasn't ready for it at that time. You know what I mean?
No, of course. Like, even like I wasn't into music, I wasn't into pop like growing up. I wasn't into like what my dad was into. And then when I kind of found like my own path and the music I enjoyed, it was very much like thrown into the deep end, my spec deathcore. Like, I Rest the Bear Runs, like MySpace, like Whitechapel, like Time Out of Defilement, all the 2000s early stuff was like my shit in high school, and then I found like the metalcore route and like the local hardcore route, and then everything just came full circle, and I just enjoyed everything.
Totally. Yeah, man. Because like I said, because that was in middle school, like when I first, heard Suicide Silence. And like I said, I wasn't quite ready for it. But later on, when I discovered bands, like you just said, like Whitechapel, I think the first deathcore band I really fell in love with was Job for a Cowboy. The Entombment EP, I was like, holy shit, like that's what ultimately hooked me into that deathcore, that death metal, then eventually metalcore. So like then I kind of came around to Whitechapel, came around back to Suicide Silence, and just really like dug deep. But yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Job for a Cowboy is shit.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, tell me more about your bands. Like, what are some positives about, growing your band? Some of the positives and some of the negatives.
So Malice came about, started writing for Malice like last year. Aaron Wright, who is the former guitarist of Malice, he was also in Monasteries. And when Monasteries was coming to its like final days, me and Aaron were like writing Malice stuff, and we wrote Underneath, and then we just let things kind of like snowball, where we had Jordan Burke join us on bass, and then Jordan Burke brought in Matt, and then I think before Matt, it was after Matt, we had a drummer who was like temporary, and then we found Jack. So everything like member wise just kind of like snowballed, and it was kind of like scary because Monasteries was like my Aaron's like thing for like the last 5-6 years of our lives. So kind of like leaving that behind and then kind of something new and like bringing it to people who like familiar with like our previous stuff, introducing to this new stuff. It was kind of like, well, we hope they like it. As far as I'm aware, they all liked it, and it was like sick. But it was just kind of like new and like refreshing and different, kind of like letting everything build organically from the grounds up and testing waters. And it's like right now we haven't solidified our sound. We don't know what we want to do. The music we have just dropping is just kind of stuff that we just put pen to paper and then wanted to see if it works, and then wanted to see if this is what we want to go for. So like everything that comes out may or may not be what we're gonna do in the future. Right now we're writing, and what we're writing I feel like is what we want to do. We all enjoy that kind of like direction. Like we have like 2 more singles to come out. Yeah, 2 more singles to come out, and it'll be like the end of like that cycle. But like even like some of these songs will have sections of parts that you'll hear more from in the future.
Yeah. You said something very interesting there that I relate to a lot, and I want to dig into a little bit more. You said basically along the lines that you haven't quite figured out the signature sound yet, which I relate to right now with my band currently, because like we just finished releasing an EP. I call it more of a re-debut EP because we came out with one like right before COVID. Then, everything shut down. Then we freaking, basically restructured the band completely. But anyway, so we came out with this EP, digging it, right? Then we started writing another one, but it sounds way different, right? And like that's going to be coming out later. But then we're already in the writing sessions for stuff for next year, like, early next year. And that sounds different. And, like for me, I want your thoughts on this, but like for me, like going through that, it's kind of like a little bit of a mind fuck, because it's like, okay, I see where I was there, but I feel like I'm so much further ahead here. I'm not quite happy with where I was there, but at the same time, it's like, do you still feel comfortable like releasing stuff, even though you feel like you've moved ahead more towards the signature sound? Because I mean, it's a journey, right? It's like a journey to your signature. It doesn't just happen right away, at least not for everybody. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's like, for me personally, it's these songs we just released and the songs we have coming out, it's just kind of been like getting to know each other as like people, because like I didn't know Matt or Jack, and it's also vice versa for everyone else. So it's just kind of like understanding and putting in a direction like what we want to do as like a unit.
Right.
So it's like the stuff we dropped and the stuff we have coming out in the next like couple months is just kind of like footing work. It's just kind of like building momentum. Like we're not gonna like write songs and then let them like decay. We want people to hear these songs, so we're gonna put them out
Right.
for like people's enjoyment and also our own enjoyment. And surprisingly, they've done better than I ever expected. So like the future material is kind of like more like honing in and being what we want to be and where we want to go. And I feel like at the moment we have it, and we obviously at the next release we are going to evolve, because we're not really going to like put out the same release. We want to do like something different, something refreshing, something fun, because you keep rewriting the same thing and feeding into like what people may want to hear again, it kind of like dims it out for you, and you go like there's like a fine line before like a fine line between like in doing what you want to do, but also bringing the people that enjoy your music along with that ride. So it's kind of like it's like pushing and pulling all the time. But hopefully, like
Right.
I feel like the stuff we dropped is aggressive, and I feel like the next stuff we're gonna drop is more aggressive, but it isn't deathcore at all.
Sure.
So like, but people like hopefully will enjoy it. But like, I get what you mean. It's it could be very dramatic. Like people just like overwhelming, because like you get confused on what you want to do all the time, and then you
Right.
feel like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But it's like I feel like everything will all just fall into place at some point.
I love that, because what I'm hearing from you, it's like you're basically giving yourself permission to be like, all right, this is what we were right here. Let's release that. Let's enjoy it for what it is. We're here now. Let's release that. This is where we're at this moment. That, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably like be around the bush of it, but yeah, it's like every song, every drop you do will be at like what you was during that time, what you was enjoying during that time. So like for like me, for like Malice, I think like the songs we have had out and the songs we have coming out is just kind of like us getting to know each other and like involving different styles, different genres. Where the next stuff it will be more like directional, like this sound.
Right. And is it exciting for you to see that growth from like first release with this band to where it's going now?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't really think it would do well. Well, that's a bit negative. Well, don't mean to be that negative, but it's like I didn't think it'd do as well as it has done. I mean, that's how I want to rephrase it. So, yeah, it's just like I feel like with every new band, you just don't. The first song always does well, and it's like, well, is the second song gonna do well? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You get like it's a bit up and down, and we've been fortunate that like every song we've dropped, there's been growth organically and like naturally, and that feels good. We've only played like 2 shows as well. We did
Mhm.
like last month Birmingham with Graphic Nature. It was like sold out, and then we were taken back by the reception. Some of our friends were able to come down, and I was like, okay, but it's like we had a whole room full of like new faces and people we've never met in our entire life, and they enjoyed it. And then yesterday we just did No Play Festival in Liverpool, and we were like opening main stage 1 o'clock. I didn't have expectation. I never roll with expectations, and then it just kind of like worked out great. Thought 10 people, 15, I believe we had like 50, 60, and that was so amazing. Humbled that people came down early and like able to enjoy it, check it out, and say they enjoyed it. It's more I could ever ask for, to be fair.
That's great, man. That's really awesome to hear. And that's a great segue, because a couple days ago you were texting me about getting ready for a festival. Yeah, let's dig into
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Dude, that festival was so sick. No Play Fest in Liverpool. I think this year was like their second year. They did last year, and then this year they had Ceasefire's Cowboy headline. They had bands like Harriet, Split Chain, Cauldron, Durandal, Long Goodbye. There's like 23 bands throughout that day, and it was like sick. It was great to meet new people, new faces, see new bands. Like they had it like separated. It was like on the same street but different venues that were pretty much like next to each other.
Yeah.
And like Long Goodbye and Durandal played a venue called EBGB's, and it's like downstairs in like a tunnel, and it's like so small. And Durandal popped off. It was insane. Like Long Goodbye and Durandal, like metalcore, but it's like the hard metalcore, like Chamber, Orthodox, like No Cure, like in that sense, like Foreign Hands as well. It was just like intimidating. It was like scary being in that room, but like every band seemed to have a good reaction. Like Cauldron fucking like killed it. Sea Space Cowboy were like unreal. It was a pleasure meeting them as well.
Hell yeah. And so you touched on this a little bit earlier, but what are some marketing strategies that you find work well for your band?
I feel like always keep momentum, never like drop too much, because then it'll just kind of like get chewed up and like spat out and not really valued. I feel like just dropping from like consistently, but like during a good time. So like every release, drop like 2-3 pieces of content, and then like with these, we're dropping like songs hopefully like every 6 weeks, depending on the scheduling and timing. So we're like nearly at the end of our like little cycle. But like I think just keep it active, showing that you're an active band and that you enjoy it and you want to do it for the right reasons. And I think like people will resonate with that. People will like enjoy it. I think that's with marketing. I think like visuals as well. We take pride in our aesthetics. So like every video we do, there is a standard, and there is a high standard where I want it to look like a certain way, and I want it to be like wow factor. I want it to be like horrifying. Like we did a video for our recent single called "The Art of Letting Go," and I wanted it to be kind of like beautiful, dreamy, but also horrified and daunting, and certain things that people can like resonate with. So kind of like someone like kind of like hating themselves and rubbing off like all the makeup to the point where they can't handle it, and then like every bad pass they're just self-harming, and every cut, every wound is just a relief of that memory they're getting rid of.
What does that look like in like band meetings or stuff like that? How do you go about creating these visions?
I feel like everyone's on the same page. Like me and Jordan, we talk about it a lot. I think like if it's just like cool shit, we're all down bad for it, if I want to say. But I'm like a retro 2000s, like 90s, 80s freak. I love everything old school. I want to like implement that more. I love the 2000s. I love everything so early. And we're going to try and implement that in the music as well. And I feel like on social media, we're going to try and implement that a little bit more. But like even with our music videos, it just looks like early 2000 videos, like not the whole rectangle, it's just the squared. And like even like the grading, we like consider, because we just want it to look like cool. I love Rob Zombie films, like The Devil's Reject. I love how that's shot. I just love the prosthetics. I just love the makeup. It's so sick. It's just horrifying. I just love horrifying things. I just love the shock factor, and I take that like from bands as well. Like such as like Dying Fetus. My favorite like T-shirt is a guy with his mouth to the curb and with his shotgun behind it, and on the back it just says "subjected to a beating." I just think horrifying thing. I just feel like I spoke to like a few people about this as well. I feel like bands these days kind of like don't have that shock factor. They don't have the shock factor that Cannibal Corpse did in like the 80s and like the 90s, where like you have Corpse Grinder just saying Icon Blood and everyone just kind of freaks out, or they have like cool videos of just like messed up things. I feel like there is a small amount of bands that are doing it, but I feel like there's not enough. And I feel like Shock Factor is awesome. Who doesn't love it? And I feel like I try and implement that in like merchandise and kind of like music videos. I don't know if you saw our music videos. I just feel like there's every point there's like a big horrifying like moment, like, oh shit, that's happening.
Right. Yeah, man. Who do you think is who do you think are some bands who are doing a good job at having that shock factor?
Shock Factor? I feel like Cannibal Corpse will always keep it real.
Yeah.
They've got like no care in the world, and I love that. Shock Factor. This is my thing, I can't think off the top of my head. Ingested?
I agree. That was going to be my first answer.
Yeah, Ingested. They keep it real. They keep it brutal, and that's like hard as shit. Cyber Park. They did a video called Face Ripped Off, and you had like some dude like carving off some people's face. Body Snatcher. They just did something cool.
Yeah. At what point in your life did music transition from a hobby to a career for you?
Well, I started doing vocals when I was like 17. I feel like when I joined Monasteries at 19, I kind of like just breezed through it as like an enjoyment thing. But I think by the age of like 20, I wanted to be touring full time. I dropped out of college, got a part-time job, went job from job, just kind of like trying to get by, selling things to get by, like pay certain things at bands. Like I used to like sell clothes, valuable clothes, collectibles, just to pay for like my old band stuff, just to get to Manchester, just to pay my way, because I didn't really have a job at the time, and sometimes I did have a job, so it's kind of like fluctuating. So I feel like from the age of like between 19 and 20, I wanted to do this. And then when I started touring 2 years ago, I did my first tour. I think that pretty much solidified it for me, and I was like, yeah, this is it. And then Ingested kind of like showed me the ways and the routes, and gave me a little bit of my stripes, and it's just still solidified me. Like I love touring. Like Wednesday I leave to go to the States for the third time, and I'm just thrilled to get back out.
Hell yeah. That's great. So did there need to be like a mental shift, for you, like going now, like you're in like the music scene a lot more, like you're essentially kind of in a way like being your own boss. Like, did you have to be a bit stricter with yourself when you made that shift?
Financially, yeah, because you don't really get like there's not like you get paid for like if you're like a crew, of course, but like kind of when you go on tour, kind of like you use like I kind of like save up for tour, so I have money to fall back on, because I have like bills as well that I have to pay for. But for like musicians, Malice don't get paid for anything. We're a small thing, but seeing like other bands go on tour and don't get paid as much, and like sometimes like bands don't get as much as crew, and it's kind of like a weird thing, because the artist is bringing in the crowd. So people would make the assumption that the artists would get more of the money, but they actually don't. And like I'm not like dismissing crew or anything, because they just work as hard as well. But I feel like musicians should be paid more. But like mentally, I feel like I was just always ready to go out and tour, and I was just like hungry for it ever since like I found music and like wanted to be on the road. I think I was just already like mentally there. I feel like I did have some times where like it was a bit difficult. Like I missed home, I missed my past relationships and like past like dogs. But I feel like the more you do it, the more it kind of shapes you. And I feel like I'm just ready. So it's like if anyone goes, want to come on tour, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Not work a normal job. Slay queen, let's go.
For sure. And what do you think the biggest challenge is for newer bands like like us to break through into the industry?
That's a really hard question, because I feel like there's like multiple answers.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like to break through, like being everyone's cup of tea, breaking that market, being everyone's go-to band they want to listen to every day. Because like everything you drop, it's always going to be 50-50. You're going to have people hate it, and you're going to have people that fucking love it. But the people that love it are the people that will always come back, and they are the people that will always talk about you and push you. I feel like these days it's a lot harder because everything's focused around like ads and the meta and all that bullshit. Because if you aren't paying or giving anyone a little bit of coin, it kind of slips under the radar.
Right.
And like we've been fortunate where it's just been like voice of mouth, where we've had like friends or people we've worked with just kind of like push it for us a little bit more, and we've been fortunate in that sense. But I feel like social media is such bullshit these days. I don't think like it pushes it as much as it should, and I hate it. I hate TikTok. I hate feeling like a slave to the machine. I feel like I hate music not letting it speak these days. I feel like you've got to put on a front for it to sell. I'm just so not with that. I'm too tired just to go and talk all the time about certain things that aren't music related. I feel like it should just be about the music and the art, and I feel like these days it's not. But like I feel like there is a certain circle of it coming back, and yeah. But social media is hard. I feel like a lot of going to shows helps, talking to people, like being in the real world and handing out flyers. Like Malice, every time we shipped out merchandise, we had QR codes. And in those QR codes were just like the direction to like our social media, our Spotify, just to be able to check out. Even like going to shows, I would hand out QR codes. I just give stuff out, like people like talking about past, like, oh wow, if you haven't heard my new stuff, here you go. Or I'd be on the merch for Ingested, and I'm fortunate they allow me to have my QR codes there and just give them out. And I just feel like that works a lot more than ads these days.
Yeah.
And even like on the last tour, I was doing it and I felt a small amount of results, and I'm grateful that I got those results, because like when I give out these QR codes, I expect people just to kind of throw them away. But if people are like actually doing it, it means a lot, because it's just kind of like looking out for the underground, the little guy, because it's hard being a new band and not like it's such a grind. And like I'm here for the grind, but like it's hard work, and we're fortunate to be where we are right now, to be fair.
Yeah, totally. And to go off that point too, like it is great to be able to talk to real people in person, right? Those real interactions.
Yeah.
And I think what makes it work, because you were saying you expect people just to throw it away. I think what makes it really work is that if you can talk to these people and actually have a real conversation, a real connection, then be like, yo, here's this is what I do. You know what I mean? Because it's not, at that point, it's not necessarily a cold call, right? Yeah.
Because like I feel like you fall a slave to the numbers, and like if your monthly listeners are dropping by 100, you then start being frantic and like start panicking, and I never want to feel like that ever again. So right now, like I just write music for like the enjoyment for me and for people to kind of like resonate with, because every lyric, every song I write has a direction, it has a meaning. I always want someone to feel okay, or if they listen to the song they feel better, because I remember growing up and having a shit time, and I listened to like this certain song and it made me feel better, and that's the kind of impact I want. Like I don't care for numbers. I don't care to be the biggest band. I think for me personally, it always has been this way. Even in my past, like interviews and podcasts, it's just been like, I just want to make an impact, and kind of make people feel fine and like look out for the little dog. Because breakdowns are cool, doing screams is cool, but I feel what's better and more, and what makes me get up every day and continue it is just like people finding something within that. Like if someone's having like trouble with like their sexuality or their mental health and they find resonation within lyrics, then I think that will make me sleep a lot better at night. I just want people to be okay and just feel fine. Because growing up for me was just fucking shit. I hated it. I hated everything. So if I can make someone feel better, then that's more than anything in the entire world.
That's great. Yeah. So basically, you're more than happy to take on the responsibility of what your art can do to people.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. I respect that a lot.
It's like even like in videos, I want people to kind of like take something away from that. And I feel like people can with the new one that are letting go, because he's just like a lot about like that song in general. It's just kind of like not letting your past beat you up, and you are going to make mistakes and you will become a better self if you focus on that direction and keep your head leveled. But also like this person kind of like letting go of that. That's what it's all about. And like, even though she does it in like the most horrifying way, but it's like a way we all feel like sometimes, and it's not a way we should be doing, but it's just kind of like result in that and kind of like let it know everything will be better. I think like as time goes on, things do generally get better, and like life just loves to give you the lefty righty good night, but things will come out better.
Right. Absolutely, dude. I love that. And it's cool, man, because like for those watching, like you and I have never met before. This is the first time we're ever talking. And something that I think is really cool, a lot of what you're saying, I can relate to very strongly. It feels like you and I are doing the music thing for the same reasons, what we feel like is the right reason, to be that positivity in somebody's life who can't dig it out of themselves to like really move forward, you know what I mean? Because I mean, shit, I think we've all had those moments, right? I sure have had my moments where, holy shit, dude, like I feel like it's always one step forward and two steps back, you know what I mean? But then there's bands that I'll listen to, their songs in particular that I'll listen to, and it's like, holy shit, that's the extra like gas, the extra fuel that I needed to like either ignite that in you know, whether it's motivation or whatever. So like I respect that about you a lot. So that's
like fantastic. Everything lyrically I write is my heart worn on my sleeve. Like nothing a facade, nothing's fake. Like it's past stuff I've been involved with or treated like, or it's just stuff that's kind of going through my head. Like if I'm upset, I'll write pen to paper, and everything. Hopefully, I feel like every lyric I write feels poetic, and I just like being real. I just like just being like, I feel like shit. This is it. It can get better. I sometimes like it might not even seem like that because I do story like kind of like narrative it and like do like a little bit of storyboard, like with March's Ominous. That was like sci-fi storyboard like narrative, but like that was all about my childhood and like growing up and how shit it was, and like some of the Malice stuff's like underneath, but like someone I really fucking hate who made me feel fucking shit, wasting my time, and like a bore's like pretty much being that like depression hole and just like feeling shit, and Inflatable like struggling to sleep at night. Then goes about getting rid of like the past and stuff. So yeah.
I also like that you mentioned it's going to get better, right? I always like to tie this into Star Wars because I know you said you like Star Wars. It's like there's always hope. If there's one lesson you can get from Star Wars, that's that there's always hope, right?
Yeah, because like the weight of the world sucks, and waking up every day sucks. It does. But there's always something that will make you get on with that day. Whether it's like your friends, your dog, your your child, your wife, or just something that motivates you, it will always be a little baby step to the better, and every day will always strive to the better. And sometimes you don't feel like that because you're stuck in the headspace, but it will.
Right. Absolutely, man. Yeah, so this next question, you kind of already answered a little bit of this next question I wanted to ask you with the whole social media thing, but what are some things you wish were different about the industry?
People looked out for like the underdogs. There's so many like underground bands that deserve to be with the big dogs. Like underground band in the UK, I feel like Osaya, Cauldron, Black Coast, I feel like Harrier, those bands deserve to be with the big dogs, 100%. Like Killing Me Softly, unreal band, dude. They deserve to be with the big dogs. I feel like
Hell yeah.
a lot of people should try and pay more attention to the smaller bands, because these smaller bands are ripping these days. Everyone is dropping so much good material. Durando, Longer By. Like, Longer By have only been a band this year, and they've dropped one of my favourite releases so far, which is I Used to Dream of Drowning. And they're so sick. Like, so good. And, like, there's a label called The Coming Strife, and they just dropped, like, a confirmation of, like, some of these bands I just mentioned, and they're incredible. Like, X Deliverance X. There's another band called Split Knuckle. People should be checking this stuff out. It's just like, I'm such an advocate for like the underground scene, and I kind of want these bands to all like eat well. I want everyone to like do his thing. It's like Ingested. Like, I hold them so close to my heart, and I want that band to be so much bigger than they already are, because they're so deserving. And only being with them for like 2 years, and like hearing stories and being in the moment with them, hardest working band I've ever met in my entire life. And like, I even owe them who I am today. Like, they're like my dads, my three dads, not blood related.
Right. I agree with you, man. Like, hearing Ingested's story, because I mean, I had both Sean and Jason on, and Sean and I did dig deep into it quite a bit too. Like, I love that they just grinded it out, man. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, nothing was handed to them, right? It was a long journey, which it's exciting for me that they're finally getting to the point where they could exhale and start enjoying life, right? Because they're starting to see that success. They're starting to see that pay off a little bit more.
It's even like when I started touring with them, even though I got to skip a couple beats, and I was fortunate to do a few things with them, like a few tour buses, but it's like the first year of touring with them, they showed me the grind. And
oh yeah,
even though I still got a little bit of luxury, they still grinded. My first tour with them was like Fit for an Autopsy, and we did a sprinter, no bunks, probably like one bed which the driver took, because I'm pretty sure on that tour it was self-driven, so the self-driven themselves the entire tour. We slept on the chairs of the sprinter, the front, the back, the floor. Even on the Dying Fetus tour, we did the exact same thing. I slept under the table of the sprinter. They are the most hard-working band I've ever met, and even these last like years and seeing them like get a tour bus, they deserve it. They deserve everything. Their next stuff is gonna be unreal. I haven't heard it yet, but I just know the previous album they dropped, Ashes Lie Still, was incredible. No, it wasn't Ashes Lie Still. God, they're gonna hate me for this. Tides of Death and Fractured Dreams. There you go.
Yep.
Incredible album. So the next stuff will just be 10 times incredible. But yeah, they deserve the world. They deserve like the big dog tours. They deserve it. I remember like being in like high school listening to like Skinned and Fucked, and but like not the remastered, like the actual original where it's just like like a practice room recorded stuff. So yeah, I have so much time, so much love for them guys, and I generally owe them the world, so
Totally,
they deserve
man.
it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. So let me ask you this, man. What does success mean to you?
Man, I've never thought like that, or because I've never felt like I've been in a position where like my bands have been successful. But to me, at the moment, success is someone resonating with a lyric or a song or finding comfort within that. Because I'm not in this for the money. I'm not in this for the clout. I'm not in this for the platform. I just want one or maybe even 10 or 30 out of the millions to feel somewhat better. To never feel how I used to feel. I think that is
Right.
what success is for me.
That's powerful, man. That's like a very wholesome answer as well. And I respect the fuck out of that, man.
Yeah, because I would do this shit for a lifetime and see nothing, no penny. And if I manage to like go around, spread a message for someone to feel okay, then I'll happily eat the shit I'm given. Like, it's fine. It's worth it at the end of the day. Like, when people go up to me and like spoke to me in person about how much this has like helped them, it's just, I don't think anything beats that, because you once in your time felt a similar way, and you can kind of resonate with them during that period when they tell you that. So I think them feeling fine is more than anything.
Absolutely, man. I agree with you. And how do you remain hungry to accomplish goals without gassing yourself out?
Just keep pushing. It's like there's been a lot of days recently where it's just been hard, but I think just push it, because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and there'll always be a better day and a better minute, hour, second where you'll feel better. Because whatever you're feeling right now is something that will just pass by. It's not going to stick. So I think like just try to keep a level head and just kind of like push. If you got writer's block or you're tired or drained out, take a day out, take 2 days out, and just kind of like don't burn yourself out. Just give you time and think about it, because everything will all fall into place and everything will be what it will be, and then you will be happy and you will find comfort within that.
I have some interesting questions for you here, just to think about here. What in general, what scares you?
Tomorrow, you never know what's going to happen. You could, even though it's a pretty fucking dark answer, but I think tomorrow, the foreseeable, is scary, because anything could happen, and anything could happen can make you regret. And I think that's like the biggest thing, because you could lose someone tomorrow and you could regret like not calling them, because there's always that like small implication. Other than that, spiders. I hate spiders. All the homies hate spiders. Fuck spiders. I don't know.
That's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
then on the flip side of that, what excites you?
What excites me? Breakdowns, my dog, my friends. I think seeing the world for what it is can be exciting sometimes, because you will see like parts that's so daunting and very scary, but there is times where it's beautiful. But I think the exciting times is cherishing moments with friends. Going to, like, for me, my homie Jake Murray, like just writing, just going to him. I cherish every moment. Even like walking my dog, I think cherishing that. I think cherishing every moment. Like as of recent, Aaron Wright, the guitarist of Malice, he got married in Munich. I cried the whole 10 yards, but that whole day, he's gonna stay right here.
That's beautiful. I love that. I got one last question for you, man. What's a life lesson you learned that's still been very useful, really helpful for you to this day?
Like, not getting ahead of the game. Not like, I know like few heads like to plan their future, but not everything will be what is planned out. Like, I thought by 19 I would be like touring the world, rock star. But like in reality, it doesn't happen like an overnight thing. Like it maybe, but for me, my life hasn't paved that way. And I remember like once it probably like knocked me, and not like knocked my ability, and like I got a little bit like sad for a while. So like I don't really plan anything, and I don't have like much expectations, and I feel like that whole feeling and reward is a lot better. Morals as well, like don't lose those morals. Keep them high, because no one wants to be a piece of shit. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
But,
totally.
Yeah, I tend to keep mine high. Like,
Good.
try to think of lifelong lessons. Yeah, cherish your moments as well. I'm gonna bring that back, because tomorrow's the foreseeable. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Like, hone in on like small calls with your friends. Check up with friends. Make sure all the homies are great. Make sure your mum and dad are great, because you don't know when like the last time that'll ever be. Because life's so fucked up and so misguided and so unpredictable that your last 3 moments could be your final moments, and you don't realize that because you're so caught up in the now.
Totally. I love that. And, I think you have some really great mentors in your corner in Ingested.
Yeah.
It's what better band to, help guide you. People who've been through the grind. Like we said, they weren't given the handouts. They've been working hard every single step of the way. Those are good people to have in your corner for sure.
Dude, of course. It's like, even like through my tough times, they've been there. And they've given me life lessons. And everything they've said to me, it's not gone in and out the other ear. It's definitely stayed with me. And I am who I am today because of them. And I think I do tell them enough. But if they check this, then they know for the 10,000 times that I own the world, and everything they've like given me and shown me, like they are like family to me at this point. And like so is everyone else who've taken the time and day to kind of like show me the graft and show me how to do things. Like Monasteries did a song called Lilac, and vocally I recorded that with Eric Bickerstaff from the band Loathe. And even though I only got to spend a day with Eric, it was a day I hold pretty much close to me, because he showed me like the tricks and the traits, and like hearing his way of working influenced the way I work, and it's imprinted now on the way I work, because what he does is influential to me, and I can't implement that in all the Malice stuff. Like, that's why in a lot of songs we write, there's like the small details, there's the small whispers, the small distant things, there's the big or small forefront. So it's like, yeah, he's a genius as well, by the way.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, cool, dude. I appreciate your time, speaking with me today. Is there anything you want to plug before we sign off?
Yo, dude, straight up, like, I see what you're doing as well. Like, keep it up. Like, thank you so much for like having me and listen to me like ramble with you for like an hour. I know I can just like talk a lot of smack, but like, just thank you for giving me your time and day. I don't know if you hear that enough, but Thank you. For me to shout out, I think people just check out bands like Longer Blight, Durendal, Killing Me Softly, Cauldron. Look out for the underdogs. Malice is dropping music. We're dropping merch soon. December, we got 2 shows with Ingested, London Underworld, and Manchester The Bread Shed. Then I need to get those dates up. I can't remember, but they are happening December the 12th and December the 13th, and then we'll have one more announcement that will complete the end of the year. And the next year will hopefully be about. So if you enjoy my music, then keep listening to it. Thank you. It means the world.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button to stay on top of new episodes of Inside the Wounds.